Something I never thought I'd ever have to say, but never thought I'd get to know what it's like for a father. Now I know, and I don't wish this on my worst enemy. Rick Harrison recently confirmed the shocking news that his son is gone, leaving everyone stunned. For years, the Harrison family from Pawn Stars appeared untouchable. Yet, away from the public eye, a heart-wrenching reality was taking shape. How could a young man expected to continue his family's legacy end up with such a fate? This story goes beyond the operations of their family-run shop. It is a tale of a father wrestling with profound grief, deceit, and loss. Rick's heartfelt confession reveals the deep personal toll of a disaster that caught everyone off guard. What led to this drastic turn of events, and what helped Rick muster the courage to face this harsh reality? Both news, and I still don't know how to process it, but I must move past it. But I want everyone here to know that it's terrible. I never thought I'd get to know what it's like. Rick's personal life has been marked by the heartbreaking reality of seeing his son sentenced to life imprisonment. His path took a dark turn when he became involved in criminal activity, leading to his conviction and life sentence. The news shook Rick to the core as a father grapples with the overwhelming pain of seeing his son face such severe consequences. Joseph's story highlights the stark contrast between the public success of the pawn shop and the deep struggles the Harrison family faces privately. It is a painful reminder of how even families in the public eye are not immune to the challenges and tragedies that many others endure. Rick's other son, Corey Harrison, who has also been a major part of the Pawn Stars' legacy, has had his own battles, though not as severe as Joseph's. Corey struggled with personal issues, including a publicized arrest in 2019 for drug possession, which placed additional strain on the family. Despite these setbacks, Corey has continued to work with his father at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. Although the legal troubles cast a shadow over his public persona, the contrasting fates of Rick's sons have undoubtedly been difficult for him to reconcile. As the family grapples with both public success and private tragedy, it serves as a painful reminder that behind the fame and fortune, the Harrison family has faced its own personal struggles. For the fame, Rick Harrison operated a humble pawn shop in the lively streets of Las Vegas, the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. Though unassuming, it symbolized resilience, perseverance, and the relentless pursuit of dreams. Rick's life before the spotlight was filled with ambition and a deep understanding of value, qualities that defined his journey. Without wealth, privilege, or a formal higher education, Rick's real asset was his ability to see potential in the overlooked. With determination and a strong entrepreneurial spirit, Rick joined forces with his father, Richard, to establish the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. But let's be honest, it wasn't a smooth start. The early days were tough, with the shop barely managing to stay afloat. Many would have given up, but Rick understood that the pawn business wasn't just about buying and selling, it was about trust, expertise, and connecting with people. Rick knew that basic knowledge wouldn't be enough to make the shop successful. To thrive, he needed to become an expert in everything from rare coins and vintage jewelry to historical memorabilia and unique antiques. He immersed himself in learning, reading books, attending auctions, and soaking up information wherever he could. Over time, his knowledge grew, and so did the reputation of the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. Still, success wasn't easy. The pawn business is unpredictable, and every deal comes with its own risks and rewards. Rick had to think quickly, balancing opportunities with potential setbacks. Then came the breakthrough moment that changed everything: the launch of the show Pawn Stars. Rick, his father, affectionately known as the Old Man, his son Corey, and Corey's childhood friend were all part of the show. Yes, there were times of disappointment when items turned out to be fakes, but Pawn Stars evolved beyond a mere television series to become a cultural icon. Fans from across the world visited the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, transforming it from a struggling business into a must-visit Las Vegas attraction. Despite the fame, Rick stayed true to his roots, embodying the same determination and eagerness to learn that he started with. This authenticity is what made Pawn Stars truly stand out, not just for the deals and treasures, but for the real people behind them. The Harrisons and Chumley became beloved household names, celebrated not for their perfection, but for their realness. They shared their victories, challenges, laughs, and frustrations, making viewers feel part of their journey. But what happens when fame casts too intense a light? Can fame and fortune really coexist with peace and trust, or do they cast shadows on even the strongest relationships? As the narrative of the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop unfolded, not everything that glittered was gold. With success came legal battles and allegations. Beneath the sparkle of TV fame and historical treasures, storm clouds gathered. The situation escalated when Joanne Harrison, Rick's mother and the family matriarch, found herself embroiled in a very public and emotionally charged legal battle with her son. The heart of the dispute was control over the shop. Joanne alleged that Rick had coerced her into signing over her 51% stake while she was vulnerable, recovering from a coma. If true, it was a devastating betrayal for a family that had once been united in their quest for success. The allegations portrayed a narrative of manipulation, with Joanne claiming Rick used her fragile state to gain control of the business, leaving her feeling blindsided and betrayed. This wasn't just a legal disagreement, it was a profound personal rift. The public watched, dismayed and puzzled, as they wondered how a family that seemed so close could fracture so deeply. And this was just the beginning. The complications deepened following the death of Richard Harrison, the respected family patriarch known as the Old Man, whose wisdom and authority had long been the foundation of the shop. His passing marked another chapter in the unfolding drama of a family caught between their legacy and the challenges brought by fame. His passing was a significant loss, not just for the business but for the family's stability. In the wake of his death, disputes over inheritance came to the forefront. Joanne accused Rick of failing to account for substantial assets, specifically $500,000 in business funds. The allegations raised questions about transparency and trust, turning what should have been a time of mourning into a bitter battle over money and control. For fans of Pawn Stars, it was shocking to see the family dynamic unravel so publicly. As the legal battles raged, Joanne sought a restraining order to prevent Rick from selling off family assets and withholding financial support. It was a desperate move, one that underscored the depth of the conflict. For Joanne, this wasn't just about money. It was about preserving her late husband's legacy and ensuring fairness in the business they had built together. The strain on the family was palpable, and the impact on the gold and silver pawn shop was undeniable. Legal fees mounted, tensions grew, and the shop's once thriving reputation began to take a hit. Customers who had admired the Harrisons for their close-knit bond now watched as that bond seemed to disintegrate before their eyes. And then, as if the family drama wasn't enough, the world was hit by the COVID pandemic. Like many businesses, the gold and silver pawn shop felt the financial sting of the global crisis. Revenue plummeted as tourism in Las Vegas came to a screeching halt. The shop, which had become a must-visit destination for fans of the show, suddenly found itself struggling to stay afloat. The pandemic brought a new layer of pressure to an already volatile situation, with legal battles draining resources and business revenues dropping significantly. The future of the gold and silver pawn shop seemed uncertain. Rick, ever the pragmatist, faced the daunting challenge of steering the business through uncharted territory. But the stress of balancing family disputes and financial survival was written all over his face. For viewers, the legal battles and financial struggles offered a stark reminder that even the most successful ventures can be fraught with challenges. The Harrisons were no longer just TV personalities. They were a family in crisis, grappling with the same issues that countless others face: loss, mistrust, and the complexities of managing relationships in business. Joanne's fight for justice was a testament to her resilience, but it also highlighted the deep fractures within the family. Her allegations, if true, show a picture of a son who had let ambition cloud his judgment. However, for Rick, the legal battles were likely seen as a painful and public airing of private grievances, a situation he may have wished to resolve behind closed doors. What the future holds for the Harrisons remains uncertain. The shop continues to operate as a symbol of resilience in the face of adversity, but for those who have followed their journey, the family feuds and legal battles serve as a poignant reminder that behind every success story is a complex web of triumphs and trials. And for the Harrisons, the greatest challenge may not be uncovering the value of historical treasures but finding a way to heal the fractures within their own family. But what happens when the struggles of fame go beyond family disputes? Can the pressure of the public eye uncover deeper secrets or even tarnish the legacy of those we admire? Scandals and legal troubles. If the family drama and legal battles weren't enough, the cast of Pawn Stars found themselves embroiled in controversies that only added fuel to the fire. For a show that thrived on the unpredictability of the items that walked through the shop's doors, the real surprises came from the off-screen lives of its beloved personalities. The charm and camaraderie that had made them household names started to crack under the weight of scandals and legal troubles, leaving fans questioning the people they thought they knew. Austin Lee Russell, better known as Chumlee, was often the comic relief of the show, with his easygoing nature and playful antics. But behind the laughs, Chumlee's personal life was spiraling out of control. His troubles first made headlines after an incident in Hollywood that escalated into a full-blown brawl. While many were willing to brush it off as a one-time lapse in judgment, the situation took a darker turn in 2016. A police raid on Chumlee's home uncovered a disturbing reality: drugs and weapons hidden among the memorabilia and collectibles that he loved to flaunt. The discovery shocked fans who had come to see Chumlee as the lovable, if occasionally clueless, sidekick. The media frenzy that followed painted a picture of a man grappling with deeper issues than anyone had imagined. Eventually, Chumlee entered guilty pleas to charges stemming from the raid. Here is your text broken into paragraphs without skipping any words. Spared him jail time but left a permanent mark on his reputation. For Corey Harrison, Rick's son and a central figure in the shop controversies, seemed to follow him wherever he went. Corey, once affectionately nicknamed Big Hose, had his fair share of wild moments, many of which played out in the public eye. One particularly infamous incident involved public urination, an act that, while minor in the grand scheme of things, fueled headlines and online chatter. But it didn't stop there. Corey's party-loving lifestyle led to bar brawls and reckless behavior that culminated in the wrecking of an RV, sparking legal disputes that dragged the Harrison name further into the mud. For a man who had grown up in the shadow of his father and grandfather, the fame brought by Pawn Stars seemed to amplify his struggles rather than ease them. Yet Corey's story wasn't just one of recklessness, it was also one of transformation. Struggling with his weight and the pressures of fame, Corey embarked on a weight loss journey that made headlines for all the right reasons. Shedding the pounds wasn't just about physical health, it symbolized a fight to regain control of his life. But even as his fans applauded his transformation, Corey candidly admitted that the road wasn't easy. The pressures of being in the spotlight, coupled with personal battles, weighed heavily on him. For many, Corey's journey was a reminder that fame doesn't shield anyone from life's struggles, it often magnifies them. And then there was Johnny Jimenez Jr., the shop's go-to toy expert and a fan favorite for his encyclopedic knowledge of vintage collectibles. Johnny's cheerful demeanor and expertise made him a valuable part of the Pawn Stars team, but his personal life took a dark turn when he faced allegations of domestic violence. The accusations sent shockwaves through the fanbase, tarnishing Johnny's credibility and raising uncomfortable questions about his character. For Johnny, the case allegations weren't just a legal issue, they were a personal and professional blow that threatened to undo years of hard work. The toy expert, who had delighted audiences with his passion for rare finds, now found himself under scrutiny. His every move was dissected by a public hungry for answers. The controversy cast a shadow over his role on the show, leaving fans divided between those who stood by him and those who couldn't reconcile the allegations with a man they thought they knew. As these scandals unfolded, the once unbreakable camaraderie among the cast seemed to falter. The controversies didn't just affect the individuals involved, they rippled through the entire Pawn Stars universe. For Rick, who had spent years building the shop's reputation, these incidents were more than personal disappointments, they were threats to the legacy he had worked so hard to create. The scandals also forced fans to confront an uncomfortable truth. The people they idolized were, at the end of the day, human. Chumlee's legal troubles, Corey's reckless behavior, and Johnny's allegations served as stark reminders that fame doesn't come with immunity from mistakes or the consequences that follow. But perhaps what made these controversies so compelling was the fact that they were woven into the larger narrative of Pawn Stars. The show wasn't just about historical treasures and quirky items, it was about the people who brought those stories to life. And as messy and flawed as they were, the cast's off-screen struggles added a layer of complexity to the characters fans had come to love. For the Harrisons and their extended Pawn Stars family, the scandals were yet another challenge to overcome. Whether they would emerge stronger or further divided remained to be seen. But one thing was clear, the journey of Pawn Stars wasn't just a tale of success, it was a story of resilience, redemption, and the messy, complicated nature of being human. Could the empire built on history and nostalgia withstand the test of time, or was it to crumble under the weight of its own success? As cracks widened and shadows deepened, the story of Pawn Stars began to take a darker turn, leaving fans to wonder how a cultural phenomenon lost its luster. And is there any hope for redemption? The decline of an empire. The once glittering empire of Pawn Stars now faces shadows that grow darker with every passing year. What began as a quirky, heartwarming story of a family business rising to fame has slowly unraveled under the weight of scandals, legal battles, and eternal discord. The gold and silver pawn shop, once a symbol of determination and resilience, now struggles to distance itself from the very controversies that made its cast tabloid staples. Rick Harrison, the steadfast captain of this turbulent ship, finds himself fighting battles on multiple fronts. The legal issues, especially with his mother Joanne, have not only put his personal integrity under question but have also cast a long shadow over the business itself. Accusations of pressuring Joanne during her most vulnerable moments, coupled with disputes over inheritance and missing assets, have eroded the public's trust in Rick and his leadership. It's hard to reconcile the savvy businessman who could haggle over a rare coin with a man embroiled in such bitter familial disputes. The strain of these battles is palpable, not just for Rick, but for the entire legacy of Pawn Stars. The legal wrangling and public airing of family grievances have turned the show's heartwarming narrative into a cautionary tale. Where viewers once saw a tightly knit family chasing the American dream, they now see a fractured dynasty torn apart by greed and mistrust. Adding to the storm of controversies involving the cast and their personal lives, each headline about Chumlee, Cory, or Johnny has chipped away at the credibility of the show. How can a series that prides itself on authenticity and expertise maintain its reputation when its stars are embroiled in scandals? The experts, once celebrated for their knowledge and passion, now face scrutiny as their personal actions cast doubt on their professional integrity. Even Rick's carefully curated image as the wise, no-nonsense patriarch has taken a hit. The pressures of balancing fame, family, and business seem to have taken a toll, exposing cracks that were once hidden behind the show's polished exterior. Fame, it seems, is a double-edged sword, one that cuts deeply when the spotlight turns harsh. The COVID-19 pandemic only compounded these challenges, bringing the shop's financial struggles into sharp focus. With revenue plummeting and the business forced to adapt to a drastically different economic landscape, the cracks in Rick's empire have become harder to ignore. The pandemic, while an external force, laid bare the vulnerabilities within, highlighting just how much the shop and the show relied on their public image to thrive. As scandals piled up, so did the questions about Pawn Stars' future. Fans who once tuned in for the thrill of discovery and the charm of the Harrison family now find themselves wondering if the show has lost its way. The controversies have overshadowed the shop's core mission, turning what was once an endearing family business into a cautionary tale about the pitfalls of fame. But perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of this decline is the impact on the legacy Rick and his family worked so hard to build. The gold and silver pawn shop was never just a business. It was a symbol of perseverance, a reminder that hard work and determination could turn even the humblest beginnings into something extraordinary. Yet as lawsuits, scandals, and internal strife continue to mount, that legacy feels increasingly fragile. Despite the setbacks, Rick has remained defiant. He continues to run the shop, navigating the complexities of modern business while trying to repair the fractures within his family. But the challenges are immense, and the question remains, can the empire Rick built withstand the weight of its own success? For viewers, the story of Pawn Stars has always been about more than just the items that crossed the shop's counter. It was about the people, the relationships, and the dreams that drove them forward. But as the years have worn on, those dreams have been tested in ways no one could have anticipated. The rise of Pawn Stars was a testament to the power of hard work and determination. Its decline serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of fame and the fragility of even the strongest bonds. In the end, Pawn Stars may be remembered as much for its controversies as for its successes. The show that brought history to life, that turned the mundane into the extraordinary, now faces an uncertain future. Yet amidst the turmoil, one thing remains clear. The legacy of the gold and silver pawn shop is a complex tapestry, woven with both triumphs and trials. As the final curtain begins to draw on the Pawn Stars saga, fans are left to reflect on what made the show so compelling in the first place. It wasn't just the rare coins or historical artifacts, it was the people, their stories, and their struggles. The journey from humble beginnings to worldwide fame was a remarkable one, but the challenges that followed serve as a poignant reminder of the cost of success. The tale of Pawn Stars is, at its heart, a deeply human story. It's about ambition, family, and the relentless pursuit of a dream. But it's also a story about the weight of that dream, about how the very things that lift us up can sometimes bring us down. For Rick, Cory, Chumlee, and the rest of the Pawn Stars family, the legacy they leave behind will be a mix of both the heights they reached and the struggles they endured. In the end, Perhaps that's what makes their story so relatable. It's not perfect. It's not tidy. But it's real. And for all its flaws, it's a legacy that will endure. As we reach the conclusion of this poignant narrative, the stark reality faced by Rick Harrison as he confronts his son's life sentence leaves us all deeply moved. It underscores that behind the spotlight, these individuals experience depths of life that go unseen by the public eye. It's difficult to fathom the turmoil the Harrison family is enduring at this moment. What are your thoughts? Can the Harrisons find a way to move past this profound setback, or might this mark the end of their shared journey? I'd love to hear your opinions. Drop a comment below and let's discuss. And don't forget to subscribe to Discovery Phase for more insights and updates on stories like these.